Daryl Ruiter, brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers,
specific.
Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Hello, Daryl.
Hello, boys. Good morning.
All right, hold on. We can't see you yet on the 92.3 The Fan live stream.
Can you see us, Daryl, on the 92.3 The Fan live stream?
What are you dressed up as?
I am not dressed up as anything. I can see Ken, and yes, he is looking like the St. Patrick's Day after party right now with the makeup.
Somebody said I look like John Wayne. Many people have said I look like John Wayne Gacy. Thoughts?
Well, I would say you just look like more of an angry clown at this point.
That's every day. All right,
is that the look you were going for?
I really do have to go get like a paper towel and dab to get my eye. So you got to ask him questions. You got to ask him questions.
Meanwhile,
I'll be right back.
Meanwhile, people in the chat asking, they thought Daryl promised to be Buffalo Bill, Silence of the Lambs. All right, anyway, Daryl, let's get to the stone cold truth when it comes to the quarterback situation. You heard Kevin Stefanski yesterday. Did that not sound like a guy who has absolutely no confidence whatsoever in his quarterback that supposedly was NFL ready because of all the college starts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a lack of confidence, but it sounded like someone who's just trying to cover for a quarterback who, has the vast college experience and the supercomputer between his ears that this organization really, really loved, but I still can't believe they made the pick. I still can't believe this guy is starting games for this team. But here we are, and so they have to make the most of it. For me, when Kevin keeps talking about, well, it's not just about one player, it's about all of us. Well, then, okay, what are you doing to make that player better? Because I kind of feel like Dylan Gabriel's gotten worse, Anthony, as the starts have gone. His best start was actually in London against the Vikings, and it's progressively kind of gotten worse. Now, some will say, well, the Miami game, because I think it was like 13 of 18, but he threw for like 125 yards in that game, okay? Let's be honest about it. He doesn't stretch the field. He doesn't elevate players within the offense around him. Certainly, yes, he could use a better supporting cast. There's no question about that. The receiving room is the worst in the National Football League by far. Also might be the shortest, but they also have one of the shortest quarterbacks in the NFL. So, it is what it is. And
playing youth football, we'd be kicking ass right now, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay, fine.
No. Listen, I expected them to be 2-6 at the bye. So, but it's how they got to 2-6 that I think is what's frustrating.
You've been blown out 4 times.
Exactly.
You're uncompetitive.
You're not competitive. Well, hang on, Ken. You're competitive for like a half and maybe into the third quarter. Then the whole thing falls apart on you. Mm-hmm. So, and that's just it's untenable. And they are playing worse than the 2099 expansion Browns or the 2011 Browns. This is worse. So, frustrating time for Kevin Stefanski here at the bye, but he's got to figure something out because they still have a tremendous amount of football to play.
All right, Daryl, so given that we see all the issues that they have in this passing game, I don't know, we've all been in unison saying that we thought Shedeur had more arm talent than Dylan. At least that was our thought. I know you weren't exactly thrilled with the Dylan experience since you've seen him as a Cleveland Brown. Can you start to make a projection as to when we might actually see Shedeur?
I think that Dylan's going to get 2, maybe 3 more starts at least. They're not in a hurry to put Shedeur out there. They're not even.
It sounds like a prison sentence.
Well, I know.
It sounds like I got to spend time in county for shoplifting.
But does it feel like they're getting Shedeur Sanders ready to play? He's not even getting first-team reps in practice. So they're not getting him ready to play.
No, because, again, you all had limited... Well, you and I kind of thought about this a couple weeks ago. I don't want to turn it into a fight, Daryl. Right. But it's like that's kind of how it works, where it's like, all right, you got limited reps in camp. Now you have to be the starter. You need all the reps you can get, so I can't give any more reps to everybody else. Like, every single one is precious, especially when we're trying to run...
And your starting quarterback's been so bad, he needs all the practice reps he can get.
Especially when we're trying to run 3 trick plays in one series.
I know,
because we got nothing else to do. We have no other recourse. We can't run regular plays because we can't execute.
And you can't, and your quarterback can't even execute the trick plays. He he had to dirt one, and then the other got abandoned on the second or the third step.
The one I don't blame about Gage Larvidan just tucking it and taking off. That could have been even. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing. And maybe I should have rooted for the embarrassment so I have one more crazy memory. Maybe I should have done that. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Daryl. I apologize.
Well, I mean, listen, at this point, you're looking for anything that remotely resembles entertainment when it comes to this football team. And offensively, there's just nothing entertaining. Like I said, it's an unwatchable product offensively. And, hey, that's the hand that Kevin Stefanski got dealt by Andrew Berry. And it's why I really feel these two should be tied at the hip. If you're going to fire Kevin Stefanski, you better fire Andrew Berry.
Would you entertain? You had Charles Robinson. He went on 102.5 The Game in Nashville and said maybe like 3 first-round picks might have been offered by the Eagles for Myles Garrett. Would you entertain that right now? Because Lyman and I kind of talked it out, and I said, you know what? I'd maybe entertain that in the wintertime, in the spring before the draft.
Right.
And I don't know if I'd do it right now because, the Eagles, they're probably going to be 27th through 32nd. I think in the wintertime, in the spring, I think a team will talk themselves into thinking that they're competitive, and we might be able to catch a team that's not going to be that great, which is drafted maybe 15th to 18th, somewhere in there, and that's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, those picks with the Eagles will basically be second-round picks because if they get Myles Garrett, they're going to be in the Super Bowl every year. So, I'm not crazy about that deal. Although I did say when Myles was going through his Super Bowl media tour, Bash the Browns tour, which everything he said was true, that 3 first-round picks is what I would ask for, and everyone thought that was lunacy at the time, but it's just one of those things.
I was one of them. You were right.
But like he's our future Hall of Fame players, so I get to name my price. If you want him, I'm just going to name the price. And at the time, that was my price. So, but no, it is frustrating because he's doing Hall of Fame things and you're not competitive in these games. So what good is Myles Garrett actually doing you right now other than selling some jerseys and giving you anything as far as a reason to come to games? And to your question earlier about Shedeur, Ken, they've got a stretch where they're going to play 5 home games in 7 weeks, and they're going to have to give fans reasons to come to Huntington Bank Field to watch this team. And I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be the ace up the sleeve to do that because fans will come and watch Shedeur Sanders regardless of how good, bad, or ugly it might be, because he's that magnetic when it comes to fans. And I mean that as a compliment. He's a very popular personality. He's a very popular player. I don't like the idea of trading Myles at this point because I don't know it makes you better. They don't need picks right now. They need players. That's the other part of this equation. In March, they needed picks. They don't need picks now. They need players. So I'm hoping that whatever Andrew Berry does here in the next 4+ days or so leading up to the NFL trade deadline, whatever trades he's able to make, I hope they resemble the Greg Newsome for Tyson Campbell type of trade where you get somebody that can come in here and help you today. So I'm really thinking offensive tackle and wide receivers above 6 feet tall.
And also you don't have to pay them because they've already been paid. And it seems like as of right now, it's good value. I know that there's still truthers out there about Tyson Campbell, like, you just wait. I'm like, well, okay, but I got to call it like it is so far. So far, so good. We've talked about Myles, and there's been a lot of people who have been like, you know what, he signed up for this, and that's it. Okay. He has lacked leadership over these 9 years. And I've been critical of that, and everybody has. What can he do to make this situation better? If you're not out of this situation, I know he has a no-trade clause as well. If you're not getting out of this situation anytime soon, what can he do to make this better?
Well, I am not a believer in forcing people to be leaders if they're not natural leaders, because the followers pick up on that. The followers pick up on the fakeness, if you will. That's the only way I can describe it. I just think Myles needs to go out and do what he typically does, and that's try and lead by example. And that is whether it's off the field or how he plays on the field. There's the I think it was before the Miami game. He gave the pregame pep talk there that got everyone fired up. They went out and they ran the Dolphins off the field. Maybe that's what he really is naturally gifted at. But I honestly don't know, because unless he can go out and play quarterback, unless he can go play receiver, I don't know what else Myles can do other than have a positive attitude behind the scenes. That was something that always amazed me, like with Joe Thomas. He always had a positive attitude, no matter how bad it got, no matter which quarterback we were asking him about. He always had positive things to say about that quarterback and trying to give that player an honest opportunity to show whether or not they could do the job.
Yeah, and you know this, Daryl. I mean, he had to block for some real pure idiots.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of myself included, were like, please, Joe, just say it. Because then it's open season on that quarterback or on that teammate. I mean, he played with some idiots, too. He played for a couple of goofballs as well. And if he would have said anything, it would have been giving us every green light in the world to go after that guy. But at the same time, he knows he would have made his locker room such a horrible place.
Absolutely. So I guess that's probably the leadership tack that I would be looking for Myles Garrett to take, because again, I'm not holding it against him that he's just not a natural leader. That just is who he is, and I'm a believer in people being true to themselves. And when they are true to themselves, they're their most authentic self. And when they're their most authentic self, you get the best out of that particular person.
All right, Daryl, quickly, saw your big sheet with all the PSL prices for the new stadium based on the survey that is out there. Can they possibly be this high on the PSLs? The ticket prices seem kind of in line with NFL football in today's day and age, especially in a brand new building. So I think there's less of a complaint about that and more about, man, if you got to bake in the PSL price, per week or per year, it gets really cost prohibitive for a lot of folks.
Yeah, they certainly are pricing the average fan out of the lower bowl. There's no question about that. The most expensive, and they in the survey they try to present different options for each section in the new stadium, and they seem to take the tact of a lower PSL, higher season ticket price, or higher PSL, lower season ticket price. So it was one or the other there. And with the closest seat to the Browns bench, it's over $149,000, which I don't know who has that kind of money just laying around to pay per seat. And then you throw in another $22,500 for a season ticket per seat. I don't know who has that kind of money.
Oh, whoever owns Ken's Costume Emporium, they would have that kind of cash.
But the upper, but the nosebleeds, right? In the upper deck, a $550 PSL with anywhere from $1,250 to $1,500 for a season ticket. So basically, the average fan that maybe could afford the PSLs along with their season tickets, they're going to be up. They're going to be upstairs. The lower bowl, the mezzanine bowl, that's going to be all for the rich folks. The dog pound, it appears, is going to be standing room because in the survey where the dog pound is going to be, they divide it in two spots, the lower level dog pound, upper level dog pound. They listed those as standing room. So it looks like that wall that they're going to build, that steep wall for the dog pound, looks like they want those fans to be on their feet and obviously making a lot of noise. But yeah, the prices that the Browns proposed within the survey, and I want to be fair to the organization, they told me no decision has been made on PSLs. This is just part of their stadium planning process, and they wanted to get some feedback. I can't, based on text messages I've received, based on emails I'm receiving, based on what I'm looking at in my mentions on social media, Browns fans are not happy with the team when it comes to this current PSL structure and the financial increase, not only to season tickets, but the PSLs as well. But when you're investing $1.6 billion in a building that includes paying $100 million to the city of Cleveland, Well, they're not running a charity. They're running a business, and they certainly are looking to recoup that. And based on this model, I just did some quick amateur math. They will recoup hundreds of millions of dollars with this current structure. So we'll see what they ultimately decide to do. Hopefully, they lower those prices. More expensive than Tennessee, more expensive than the new stadium in Buffalo, for sure.
Daryl, brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Daryl, thank you very much for the good times. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.
You bet. Trick or treat. Happy Halloween, guys.
The dangerous one, Daryl Ruiter. Brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers.